Welcome to Paint a Picture with Conni Gordon. Now here's Conni.
Hi, I'm Conni Gordon. Welcome to our painting group. If this is your first Paint a Picture, you might be wondering what you left yourself in for. Well, don't worry. Sit back, relax, have fun. I'll show you how the Conni Gordon method can create fun and relaxation in your life through painting. This is one of my starter video lessons. You're going to learn the fascinating alla prima technique. It's a fine art principle, but it just simply means that you're going to paint directly on your canvas and mix your colors up there. Once you've painted your first masterpiece, you'll be ready to try the other subjects in the series. Just follow my easy 4-step method. Use my specially formulated paints and you're guaranteed success, even if it's the first time you're trying it. Now, the consideration of this subject is that it's taller than it's wide, so we're going to start and place our canvas in a vertical position.
Before Conni begins, make sure that you're properly set up and ready to start. Your painting pack contains everything you'll need to complete your painting, as well as your setting up instructions. If you haven't followed these instructions, stop the tape and set up now. Remember, you can stop the tape or repeat sections should you need to.
The 4 magic steps that will make you get great results I'm about to show you. So watch, listen, and then you know what you're aiming at. So don't do anything, just watch and see how it's done. Step 1, we're going to take a small brush and dip it in blue and make a dot in the center. Now don't you do it, just watch to see the idea. Above that, we'll quickly make a line across. Step 1, that's how easy it is. That established the sky and the water area. Step 2, undercolor. Very simple. We'll put some white in there, then take our brush. You can pick the paint up and then just squish it around and get it out to the edges. Just have fun doing it and don't you worry about a single thing. The next thing I'm going to guide you to do is to put step 3 in, which is overcolor. I'm going to make some X's and then put the blue across the top, and then we're going to have a rag and wipe it off and then make circles like that. Wipe the rag again and quickly go from edge to edge, and then as you go to the top, we're going to slant it just slightly, and presto, you're going to have a sky. Now we'll go down to this area and work in this area and put some undercolor in, and then take our brush and put the white and just go from edge to edge. Just do it at your own pace. But what I'm doing now, as I told you, is just simply giving you the overall idea. Our aim in this step is going to be to make it lighter here and darker at the bottom. So we'll put the overcolor of blue in there, get it in any old way, and then work it in and go from edge to edge. Keep adding some blue as we go down, and we'll have the fun of doing this, and you just simply don't have to be concerned whether it's good or not. Just leave it to me. I'll be guiding you for every step. Next, we're going to take a little bit of the red and the blue and the white and come up here and start to create our overall design of some distant hills or mountains, whatever you want, getting them lower and lower and letting them just fade off at the end there. Then fill it in on an angle. I'll guide you every step of the way. You don't have to worry about anything. We're going to learn how to use the wood end of the brush, just like that, and scratch it in. Then we're going to get distance by making the value of the next island a little bit darker, and I'm going to give you a few secret tips as to how to establish the outline of that one, and get that down in there, and make it lighter at the bottom. And then we're going to take some white and then tap it in. Just tap, 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 tap like that. Use the wooden end again. And then the next step will be the rag, and we're going to pick up a couple of colors and go back and forth and up and down like that, and up and down and almost all the way over, and pick up some more color. Just have the fun of doing this, and I'll explain these techniques in detail as soon as we get into the lesson. And then we'll darken that there, come back and put some more foam on it, and just kind of, we can twist and twirl around like that, and again use the wood end of the brush, going back and forth, just getting an effect in there. Come back with our dabber rag, and have the fun of saying, well, let's see, I want some flowers in there. They should be bright and light at the top, so I'll use some yellow and some white, and get them over here, and then I'll add some blue and some yellow down here and really get it dark and enjoy that feeling of just having fun with the fundamentals that you're about to learn. That's the whole idea of it. Our next step will be to see what this looks like so far in a frame, because you see the whole canvas is covered and we're ready for step 4, the detail. And for that, what we're going to do is go back with our small brush, clean it, pick up some white, add a couple of boats over here, 2 together and 1 away. And as I said before, don't worry about it, I'll tell you how to do that. For a spark, we add the opposite color to all these colors, and that's a little tiny boat right in there, and then we can scratch the top and a line and connect it to a post, scratch the bottom of it so it sits in the water, and tap the very, very base of it to make sure that it's very, very dark down in here. And of course, the most important thing about it when you do it will be to put your name on it too. And there, in just a few moments, I have explained the 4 simple steps that ensure your success. All set to go? Now it's our turn to do this masterpiece together. So the first thing you're going to do is relax, just be comfortable, and pick up your small round brush. Dip the tip in the thinner, and what we're going to do is wipe it on a rag, so in case there are any extra hair, you get them off, and you loosen that new brush. Pick up a tiny bit of yellow, take the extra off on the side of the cup, and we'll make a center dot. Just guess where it is, and don't worry, just guess. Now, go above that. Just go above that, about 1/3 to 1/2 of the way. You could make a dot as a guide, and then quickly make a line across. Whether you go that way or whether you go this way, it doesn't make any difference whether you're right or left-handed. Do it your way. That's the important part about it. That was step 1, outline. Simple, easy, and don't fuss with it. We're ready now for step 2. What's that? Undercolor. It's like your underclothing when you get dressed. You start with the body of the idea. This is the sky and this is the water. And you dress yourself with your underclothing next, and then your overclothing. That's step 3. And then we go to the detail. So I'll be telling you that. All you have to do is follow along, and it ensures your instant success. Next, we put white in our sky. Now, you can take a tube or you can take your flat bristle brush, pick up the white, and spread it. Just spread it edge to edge. Don't worry whether you're doing it right or not. Just spread it edge to edge. Get it out there. Do it up and down any way you want. Just have the fun of getting the feel of the paint. It's so juicy and it's just so wonderful. It's a special formula that just makes you blend wet into wet, which is alla prima, and that's what we're learning this time. It's a fine art principle. Don't let it scare you. It just means you're going to blend your overcolors directly into your wet undercolor. So we're ready for that now, aren't we? If you're taking too much time to do this, don't come on along, because the next step will make what you have just done look better. All right, take your brush, don't clean it. You see, I still have all that coloring in it. Just don't clean it, and we're going to go down and pick up a tiny bit of red. Take the extra off on the side of the cup. Don't take too much of it. And you could put your initials if you wanted to. I'm just going to put CG here, or you can make circles. Doesn't matter. It's just getting it into the sky quickly. Got it? Don't take too much time. Don't clean your brush. Go to the next color, which is a darker value blue. We're going to pick up some of the blue, take the extra off on the side of the cup. That's it. Just take the extra. Don't have too much dripping down. And you put the blue across the top part of the sky. Again, whether you start here or whether you start here, it doesn't matter. But do get it across the top part of the sky. If it's too light, just add a little bit more of the blue, and then pull it down and make big circles. Just like that. Okay, got that Looks kind of messy, doesn't it? Well, it should. Again, you're working wet into wet. Now stop what you're doing and watch and listen and look, and then you'll do it. Take your brush and go across your colors, starting where? At the lower, the lighter part. Don't start up here, start at the bottom. Go across your colors, go from edge to edge, lift up, go higher, lift up, go higher. You can start to slant a little bit, you see, as you get toward the top. And let those colors just work for you and get a beautiful effect. And when you get to the top, stop and make sure that your sky is lighter at the bottom and darker at the top. Now, if you pick up too much paint, you can wipe that off and just simply do it again if you want to make it a little smoother, but don't overdo it. Go from light into the dark, slant it a little bit toward the top, and then stop when you're ahead. Now it's your turn. We can twist off all that extra paint on our palette. Twist it off. Twirl your brush around. That's all there is to that. And then wipe it on a rag. Take your brush and go across your colors, starting where? At the lower, the lighter part. Don't start up here, start at the bottom. Go across your colors, go from edge to edge, lift up, go higher, lift up, go higher. You can start to slant a little bit, you see, as you get toward the top. And let those colors just work for you and get a beautiful effect. And when you get to the top, stop and make sure that your sky is lighter at the bottom and darker at the top. Now, if you pick up too much paint, you can wipe that off and just simply do it again if you want to make it a little smoother, but don't overdo it. Go from light into the dark, slant it a little bit toward the top, and then stop when you're ahead. I'll give you time to do it, but don't overdo it. Okay, let's proceed. We have this whole area of water. So what we're going to do there is go back to step one. We've already established that. Step two is the undercolor. You could take your brush, and I would suggest you check the coloring on it, and if you don't have it light, then wipe your flat bristle off, and again wipe it on a rag if there are extra hair, and then just kind of get it off and loosen it up. It's a new brush with your beautiful kit. And then pick up some of the white and get the white undercolor in this entire area. Do you cover your yellow line? You could. Or you could just leave it there as a reminder that that's the area and keep adding white. Just get it in there and go from side to side and enjoy that feeling of covering and getting used to the brush in your hand and the beauty of the way the paint just moves along. Get it down to the corners, cover the entire area with a white undercolor, and at this point, let's look and see in the finished effect, do we want this water to be lighter at the top or lighter at the bottom? Well, let's take a look and see. Because when we put our overcolor on, we should have some consideration of where the source of light is. So now I'm just going to take a little bit of a dot to show you where the sun might be. And if the sun is coming in here, it should be lighter here, and then as we go down here, it should be darker. Now, don't you do it, just watch to see the idea. What you do is add some blue. Pick up the blue, don't clean your brush. add some blue. Really start to add that blue down in here. Just really put that blue in over the other color and work it out to the edges. Just work it out to the edges. Keep adding the blue. Oh, you could polka dot it around, but get it in there and work it from side to side, keeping it darker down at the bottom. Just add the blue, get it from edge to edge, and don't be a worry bird. Just do it. Get it out to the edges. Don't start here and leave a space in here. Get it right out to the edges, and as you go up, you don't have to keep adding any more paint. You see, it automatically gets lighter and lighter and lighter. But what happens if it doesn't? That's when you add some more of the white. You could twist off on your palette too much blue and just pick up the white and use a nice light touch and get that to stay light over there. Just stay lighter. And you see what's happening? We get a variation in the brush stroke. Don't try to make it all the same. Okay? Now it's your turn. What you do is add some blue. Pick up the blue. Don't clean your brush. Add some blue. Really start to add that blue down in here. Just really put that blue in over the other color and work it out to the edges. Just work it out to the edges. Keep adding the blue. Oh, you could polka dot it around, but get it in there and work it from side to side, keeping it darker down at the bottom. Just add the blue, get it from edge to edge, and don't be a worry bird. Just do it. Get it out to the edges. Don't start here and leave a space in here. Get it right out to the edges, and as you go up, you don't have to keep adding any more paint. You see, it automatically gets lighter and lighter and lighter. But what happens if it doesn't? That's when you add some more of the white. You could twist off on your palette too much blue and just pick up the white and use a nice light touch and get that to stay light over there. Just stay lighter. And you see what's happening? We get a variation in the brush stroke. Don't try to make it all the same. Okay? Get it out to the edges. We've got a lot to do in here, so don't waste too much time with this. And I'm just going to give you a chance to make sure that yours is lighter at the top, darker at the bottom, and then we're ready for the next step. Now stop what you're doing and watch and listen and look, and then you'll do it. Our next step is starting some detail. We're going to take the same brush without cleaning it. We're going to pick up a little bit of red, take the extra off on the side of the cup, not too much red. A little bit more of the blue, extra off on the side of the cup. By this time you should get used to that technique. And we'll end up with white, again, extra off. If we need any more of those three colors, you can always add them. Let's see what we're going to do and where we're going to place it. This time we start with the detail of the back mountain or hill area. It doesn't make any difference what you call it, but my suggestion to keep it in the distance is that it be middle in value. I'll explain that in just a moment. Middle in value. Start here. Remember your yellow line? Go up from that a little bit, but not more than halfway in your sky, please. Not too high. Start and come down. Now you can take the brush with your right hand or your left hand, but my suggestion is to start higher here and then move it over and over unevenly so that you get a variation in the outline, getting it lower and lower and lighter and lighter, and let it fade off in the distance right down to the line. Now it's your turn. Take the same brush without cleaning it. We're going to pick up a little bit of red, take the extra off on the side of the cup, not too much red. a little bit more of the blue extra off on the side of the cup. By this time you should get used to that technique. And we'll end up with white, again, extra off. If we need any more of those three colors, you can always add them. Let's see what we're going to do and where we're going to place it. This time we start with the detail of the back mountain or hill area. It doesn't make any difference what you call it, but my suggestion to keep it in the distance is that it be middle in value. I'll explain that in just a moment. Middle in value. Start here. Remember your yellow line? Go up from that a little bit, but not more than halfway in your sky, please. Not too high. Start and come down. Now you can take the brush with your right hand or your left hand, but my suggestion is to start higher here and then move it over and over unevenly so that you get a variation in the outline, getting it lower and lower and lighter and lighter, and let it fade off in the distance right down to the line. Now look at yours and check it and see. Is this very, very dark against your sky, or is it middle value? It should not be very dark. That would be the dark value. We're going from light value of the sky to middle value of the mountains here. Then what we're going to do is fill it in. Just fill it in down to that line, but angle it. Is it easier for you to make your strokes come down this way? Then do it that way. Or if it's easier for you to do it this way, just curve them a little bit. Light touch. Don't work hard at this. Light touch. Let it fade off in the distance. That's it. Let your brush strokes show. Don't play too much. If you do, you know what you're going to do? The more you use a color, the more you're going to lose it. So let's keep moving along. Next consideration is an island in front of that, or some rocks or mountains or hills in front of that. So what we're going to do is find out where we're going to go. Take the wood end of your brush. If you didn't know which end of the brush to use when you started this first lesson, now you're going to find out you can use both ends. Now don't you do it, just watch to see the idea. So what we're going to do is make a little, just scratch in there, and then come on down over into the water, down about an inch or so, but not over halfway, less than halfway, and kind of make an uneven line that goes down over there and then straight back, straight across. What would the undercolor be? Well, it could be blue, and whatever's on the brush we could just use to fill this in. Just fill it in and determine an undercolor, and then we're ready to do the overcolor. Now it's your turn. Take the wood end of your brush. What we're going to do is make a little, just scratch in there, and then come on down over into the water, down about an inch or so, but not over halfway, less than halfway, and kind of make an uneven line that goes down over there and then straight back, straight across. So what you're going to do now is realize that within your painting, to think creatively, you go back to step 1, outline. Step 2, undercolor. What would the undercolor be? Well, it could be blue, and whatever's on the brush we could just use to fill this in. Just fill it in and determine an undercolor, and then we're ready to do the overcolor. I'll wait. Give you a chance to get that in there. Okay, next step, a tiny, tiny bit more of the red. Take the extra off on the side of the cup, and a little bit of the blue. And what we do is come up here and just simply darken the top of that so that there is a contrast between that and the one behind it. See, a little bit of that red, a little bit of the blue, and I'm darkening it just slightly so that it comes down unevenly and has an interesting form and maybe goes over and then down again, and then blend that in. See, work it into your wet undercolor. Again, what are we doing? We're working alla prima style. Oh, that's something to just tell your friends about. Oh, I learned the alla prima style with the Conni Gordon method. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I know just what it means. Oh, you know what it means. Just work right on your canvas. Take the paints from your palette and put them up here. That's all it means. Don't let those fine art principles scare you, because you're going to learn a great deal just by following along. You know how you learn? By doing. And that's what you're doing. Just doing it will give you the whole idea of it. Next step, to make sure that this is straight across and it's lighter, we're going to twist our brush around, use the wood end of the brush, and simply go back and forth underneath to make sure you straighten out the rough edges of the distant hills. Just straighten them out by scratching. You hear me? Scratch, scratch, scratch. Going across. Just do that. That straightened that out. Now we're going to put foam over here. How do we do that? Well, we take the same bristle, but we look at it and we see that it's got all these different colors on it. So this is the first time I'm going to ask you to clean your brush, because we're going from dark to light. Okay, is your brush pretty clean? Doesn't have to be 100% clean. Just get most of that paint out of there. And without using thinner, we're going to dip into the white and pick up a good amount of white. Just pick it up and apply it over here for the foam. We're going to tap the foam on, but will we start it where the rock ends? No. Let's start it a little further over. You see, I'm starting further over, and just tap it on. Tap it on. If you have to twist your brush around and tap some more of it on, going further over across the base of your rock area, then go ahead and do that. Just tap it a little further over, then switch that brush, use the wood end of it, and hold it in your fingertips. That's a lot easier to do. Just hold it in your fingertips. And then scratch the bottom part. You watching? Don't scratch the top part out. Scratch below here so you get that foam to look like it's in the water, scratching even a little bit more into the water, carrying the scratches and giving some rhythm and movement in the water further down. That's all there is to that. Now it's your turn.
Watch now as Connie demonstrates the next technique.
Dabbing rag techniques now. Now you can take your rag and you can hold it, first forming a triangular effect, and then hold the four edges. Now don't stick your finger in it, you see. Just simply hold it this way, and the top becomes a terrific dabber because of the toweling. Now I'm going to pick up two colors at one time, a little bit of the yellow and a little bit of the blue, and I'm going to press very hard. Hard, 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 hard. You see, that actually fills it in quite a bit. If you want to soften the color, then you just keep dabbing and tapping. You notice what's happening? The yellow and the blue are mixing together to make one green. So the more you tap over and over and over it, the more you're going to lose it. So the whole idea of it is have a light touch and simply go over and tap, oh, ever so lightly and politely, hardly touching the canvas. Now I just picked up some of the blue, and I'm just touching that very lightly. If you want to give an airy feeling, hardly touch it. Just let it, see, let the canvas or the colors below or whatever happens there work for you. You see how that is airy versus this which is filled in? This is more like a bush. This would be more like what you might tap at the top of your trees. So just keep that in mind. Now here's another technique. You can hold the dabbing rag on its side and actually fold it doing the same thing. Pick up 2 colors at one time, maybe a little bit of the blue and the yellow, and then just go up the side. Just go up the side. And you've got another type tree. Just go up the side like that. Keep it thinner at the top. Make it wider or fatten it at the bottom. And you've not only got a highlight on this side and a dark spot there, you can come back and check it according to where your light source is and just keep doing that. And again, make it thinner at the top. Let the air show through it. If you have one tree against another, what do you have to do? The secret of that, the principle of it, is contrast. Just contrast it. Use perhaps a little bit of white and the yellow and just simply contrast it so that it shows up against there. There's so much to learn, just do it. That's the best way to learn how to paint. We're taking one easy step at a time, and that ensures that your masterpiece is about to arrive and grow and in a natural sequence. You don't have to worry about anything else but just following these tapes. They really guide you. Okay, we're about to learn one of the secrets of my teaching success with you. It's so easy, it's not even funny. We're just going to take that dabber rag that you have in your little kit and fold it over. Any way you fold it will be fine, but just hold the ends. In other words, don't stick your finger into it, just hold the ends. Any way you do will be fine. And we are about to make the third little island here, but before we do, what do we consider? We go back to step 1 again, outline. Now, sometimes I use my fingernails, sometimes I use the end of the brush. Use your nose or your toes, doesn't, oh, I'm just kidding. But it doesn't really make any difference as long as you get what you're aiming for, and that is, what are we going to do? We're going to do an island covered with bushes. Where is it going to be? That's the next consideration. Now, don't you do it, just watch to see the idea. We're going to start about halfway here. You can make a little line or a dot so that you know where you're going to start. How far down is it going to go? Well, it's going to go down into the water again, and it's going to be further over than this one. So you make a little guideline down there. It's going to be further over, and then you kind of make an up and down action here, something like that, just to give you an idea where you're going to go. And the bottom part again, straight across, because that's sitting in the water. Got it? We're ready to use that rag now, and we're going to pick up 2 colors, just taking the 2 colors up. You see that on the rag at one time, tapping and dabbing, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Just get that little island in there. Tap it and pull it up and down, smaller and smaller as it gets out there. That's just the start of it. Now I'm going to make it darker in value by adding which one of the 2? More blue. That's right. Just tap it lightly and politely, up and down, up and down. That's it. Not too much pressure at all. Just the tiniest, tiniest pleasurable tap, and you've got it. Now it's your turn. We're going to start about halfway here. You can make a little line or a dot so that you know where you're going to start. How far down is it going to go? Well, it's going to go down into the water again, and it's going to be further over than this one. So you make a little guideline down there. It's going to be further over, and then you kind of make an up and down action here, something like that, just to give you an idea where you're going to go. And the bottom part again, straight across, because that's sitting in the water. Got it? We're ready to use that rag now, and we're going to pick up 2 colors. What colors make green? If you had green in the kit, you could have used it, but it's not as interesting as if you actually take the yellow and the blue on your brush or your rag at one time and see the magic of alla prima, just taking the 2 colors up. You see that on the rag at one time, tapping and dabbing, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Just get that little island in there. Tap it and pull it up and down, smaller and smaller as it gets out there. That's just the start of it. Now I'm going to make it darker in value by adding which one of the two? More blue. That's right. Just tap it lightly and politely, up and down, up and down. That's it. Not too much pressure at all. Just the tiniest, tiniest pleasurable tap, and you've got it. Now, if you want to get technical, which we certainly do, we go back to thinking of the source of light. And it's up at the top, so it's going to hit the top part of these. So what do? You know at this point you pick up some more yellow. And you just tap a little bit of the yellow lightly, not too heavily, on the top of a few of them here and there, the part that would be closer to the source of light. For instance, did you put it down over here? Well, if you did, you'll be taking my eye right out of the picture because I'm going to do it and show you. That's too light, isn't it? See what I mean, taking your eye out of the picture? If you did that, then come back, add some more blue, and darken it away from the light source. Darken it on the right side of this particular composition. Okay? If you tap over too much, again, you lose that color. So put the rag down, pick up your bristle brush and check the coloring on it. Whatever you have on it, I happen to have the white on it, and that's the color we're aiming at. But if you don't have the white, you just wipe it clean and pick up some more white. Just pick it up, no thinner. Again, let's look at the picture and see what our aim is. It's to put foam. Do we start the foam right where the island ends? No, we go over a little further. Tap lightly. Just tap. Don't make it too heavy. Now, I've used up the white, so I'm going to twist the brush around and use the other end. Now, would I make a lot of foam way back here? No, you wouldn't see it. The foam is really thicker over in the front. Now, if you wanted to, you could just kind of get a little bit of that up against the island. Just tapping and dabbing it just up against there as if it's coming in from the water and just hitting gently against that island. Again, we take the wood end of the brush, we scratch the base or the bottom of it, and you scratch it into your wet water. Over here, you can scratch it so that it doesn't look as if there's too much foam back here. Because again, that is in shadow area. So we don't want to have that too light. Just scratch it right down and through there. That's fine. Not too much scratching, otherwise you take it all away. So we keep moving along. You can come back later and put it in if you want, or add to it. That's the process of developing a painting further. But my feeling is, let's keep moving along, get the whole picture in there to get the total effect. So what is the next big section that we have to put in here? All of the flowers and the bushes down in the front, right? Let's look at our finished effect. I'm going to take our rag and pick it up in our fingertips. We're not going to put our finger in there, just pick up the rag by the outer edges, and we're going to start with the flowers that are on top. We're going to start with the light color here and then build gradually downward. Oh, let's see, what colors could we use? Well, you could use any colors you want, but I'm going to guide you to start off with some white. Pick it up, extra off on the side of the cup, and then some yellow, so that the two colors are on the rag at one time. The white and the yellow are on the rag at one time. Where are we going to start on this side? Higher or lower than that island? In the finished picture, it goes up a little bit and it curves into the picture a little bit. So that's our composition. It's a great little trick to pull your eye back into the picture. Whatever color you have on there, just use it. Don't worry whether it's bright or dark. Just get it in there. Make it like a couple of fingers, see, going up and down and up and down, getting lower and lower and lower and lower, up and down and over on this side. Is this side higher? No, it's lower than the other side. Got that? You start higher here, you kind of curve it into the picture, keep going up and down and go across, and on this side you end it high. Now what if you go way up here and it's too high. Don't get hysterical and don't worry about it. Just go back. You could put this blue in here and darken this a little bit, and that will give you even a little more depth. But that just shows you cannot make a mistake with these wonderful oil paints. All you have to do is just go right over it and improve it. So let's go back, retap what I had in there, and just stop it about where it should be for better composition.
Remember that you can stop the tape or repeat sections should you need to.
Okay, what about the bottom of the bushes? You ever notice them? That's the one thing that these lessons are going to give you, and it's a great thing because you yourself will improve the way you see. That's part of painting. Not so much whether you become a Rembrandt or what have you, but your inner joy, your own experience of creating. That's what's really important. And at the same time, it improves the way you see. You really do see more accurately through this as a hobby. And what we're going to do next is continue our masterpiece and take our rag and our dabber, just simply add blue. But be generous. Now really scoop that blue up there and really use it. Get that blue in there and work it up so that you cover some of your other color and you soften it. You see, you just soften it a little bit without losing it. So what if you lose it? You know what to do. You can come back and add more. Now, don't try to copy mine exactly, please. Do it your way. It's like handwriting. Nobody's is going to be the same as anyone else's. Get the idea of it. And, of course, in this one, I've helped develop some of these principles of composition, of leading your eye in and around the picture. But as you learn more from this series, you'd be amazed at how you can make your own compositions up, and it won't take you long. So I'm darkening, really darken it down here. You could even add some red and darken it and end up with some of the red and the blue, really making it dark down toward the bottom. Here's another principle of fine art. If you want to have this picture have more harmony, then perhaps some of that little red, that little pink that's in the sky should be right down here. You may or may not like pink or red, but you could keep within your general color scheme here, but I'm going to add a tiny bit of white and the red on the rag without cleaning it. So take a little bit of the white, take a little bit of the red, and then go back to the white as the last one. Whichever colors you have on there, just have a little bit of the white in there, and then tap very, very lightly. Not too much, just a wee bit. Just a wee bit. See, it picks up the color, transfers it around, and if you have a color star, you would see that the reds and the yellows are opposite the blue-greens. And you'll learn more about that as we progress in the series, but at least tap that in and it brightens it up. It makes it a little bit more alive. But don't let it look as if it's on top. It should be part of it. So you could come back and add more of the blue. Just tap it in without losing it. See, add more of the blue and the yellow. Just tap that in there, keeping the very bottom darker. Like that? It's kind of a pretty effect. Just keep working that in there and not overdoing it, but it's amazing how this gives much more depth when you have all these different colors working for you. Okay, at this point, I think we should look at it and see how we're doing. And the best way to see and get the balance of any picture is to look at it in a frame. Now, our source of light, as we know, comes from here. So we make sure that it's lighter here. It's hitting these parts here. It's a little bit lighter on the left side. It's a little bit lighter at the top. And this is picking up some of the tones in the sky. We're doing great. and we're ready for the final detail. Are you? I'll wait for you. Don't worry. Okay, final detail. We could do a whole lot of things in here. We could put trees in here, we could put birds in here, we could put a whole lot of boats in here, but let's keep it simple. Keeping it simple gives us much more distance and open space. And to do drawing, we usually go back and use our small, round, pointed brush. I call it the drawing brush. Take it, clean it off by dipping it in the thinner, wiping it on a rag, and we're going to make the three little boats that are way in the distance. If they're in the distance, are they lighter or darker? It depends on the lighting. Since this is daytime, it's going to be light. Are they bigger or smaller? Well, if they're in the distance, they're very, very, very tiny. The smaller you make them, the more distant they'll look. Now stop what you're doing and watch and listen and look, and then you'll do it. So let's try to get two together and one away, which is a good composition. So I'm just going to take the white and with one stroke, notice that I'm going into and against the mountain about 2/3 higher and 1/3 into the water. 2/3 higher and 1/3 into the water. Try to just do it with one stroke if you can. But you can usually do only one boat, then you have to pick up some more paint and do the second one. Pick up some more paint, and we're going to skip a space and put another one way over here and just let it go down into the water. Can you see it? If not, go over it a little bit, you'll be able to see it. But get it down into the water. After you have done this, we have to set them into the water and not on top of it. The secret of that, take the wood end of your small brush, scratch straight across underneath each one of these. Just scratch and let those scratches become part of the movement of the water. That will set them back there. Now it's your turn. So let's try to get two together and one away, which is a good composition. So I'm just going to take the white and with one stroke, notice that I'm going into and against the mountain about 2/3 higher and 1/3 into the water. 2/3 higher and 1/3 into the water. Try to just do it with one stroke if you can. But you can usually do only one boat, then you have to pick up some more paint and do the second one. Pick up some more paint, and we're going to skip a space and put another one way over here and just let it go down into the water. Can you see it? If not, go over it a little bit, you'll be able to see it. But get it down into the water. After you have done this, we have to set them into the water and not on top of it. The secret of that, take the wood end of your small brush, scratch straight across underneath each one of these. Just scratch and let those scratches become part of the movement of the water. That will set them back there.
Watch now as Connie explains the importance of understanding colour.
Here's a color star which I invented to help you paint better and to help you mix color and use them. Now, one of the ways you could use it is as follows. If you wanted to mix different colors in between, you could take a yellow and a red and mix all these different colors in between, or the red and the blue and mix these, or the blue and the yellow and mix these. Now, what if you wanted to use this information? Well, if you want to get most dramatic contrast, use opposites. As an example, use opposites that are on a color star. Here, the blue and the orange are opposites, and that means that you will have the most dramatic contrast possible. Also, if you wanted to have harmony in your picture, then what you do is choose colors which are close or adjacent on a color star. Now let me just show you this because it can not only be used for painting, but you can use it to decorate yourself. Remember what I said about opposites, the dramatic effect? Look at this. Now that's a real orange opposite the blue, and boy, that really pops out, doesn't it? Now, if you didn't want to have it quite so dramatic, what you could do is take one and tone it down with white if you were painting, or just take a pastel opposite color if you're decorating your room or yourself. Or if you wanted more harmony, check your color star and find out which colors are adjacent and just use those so that you will have better use of color for both yourself, your home, and your paintings. Next step, wipe that brush, and we're going to go and consider the little tiny boat in here that will give it a spark. That's what I call it, a spark of color. And one of the things that you should be aware of is that that color almost has to be a kind of yellow-red in order to be dramatic. Now, if we wanted it to be the same color as the rest of the picture, perhaps yellow would do it. But if we wanted a spark of color, we would know, if we used a color star, that you use the opposite of the dominating colors that are in your picture. And if you don't understand this, don't worry about it. Just pick up some yellow and red and you'll have it. Okay, where are we going to place it? Right over this island and into the water. Are we going to make a great big boat? No. We're just going to give the impression of it. Now, it might be easier for you to start here and just make a slight curve. Just keep it small. Keep it small, or it may be easier for you to do it this way. But don't make it big. Now, I'm going to make it a little bit more in the red. And then you take the wood end and you can scratch the top of that with the wood end to make it look like a highlight. You can scratch the bottom of it to put it in the water. Just scratch back and forth and disconnect those scratches. We could make a tiny little post with a scratching mark leaning into the boat. I'll wait till you get those scratches done down there. Make a tiny little slanted line into the water. Then connect the top edge by just scratching it as if it were connected. And you know what the next step is. Scratch so that that post also goes into the water. Got that? Now it's your turn. Don't scratch too much, you make it too big. Keep it small. And now, of course, is the most important part of the whole picture. And what's that? You know what it is. You take the wood end of the brush and you scratch your name down in the corner. And you can put the year that you started, your new career, and of course, no picture is complete without seeing what it looks like in a finished frame. And checking it and enjoying the fact that you have, in moments really, taken a blank canvas, and in those 4 easy steps, you've developed a masterpiece.
Congratulations! You've just successfully completed The Cove, your first lesson in the Conni Gordon art course, and your first step towards a new creative hobby. The Cove was fun to do and much easier than you imagined, wasn't it? Your family and friends will be amazed at what you've achieved at your very first attempt. Do you realise just how much you've learned about art in this first lesson? Think about The Cove for a few moments. You've learned the alla prima, or wet-on-wet technique of oil sketching. You've learned some basic brush techniques. You've learned how to see and what is seen in a painting. You've learned how different colour values give distance and depth. You've learned how lighting changes colours. You've learned about composition and balance. You've learned how shape and size gives perspective. And you've learned how using complementary or contrasting colours can make so much difference to any subject. These are all important principles of fine art, but most importantly, you've learned and practiced for the first time the unique Conni Gordon 4-step method. Soon you'll be able to compose, sketch and paint from photographs and magazines, and then take the best step of all, to go out into the magnificent Australian countryside and experience the thrill of creating your own original and unique interpretation of the scenes which unfold before you. You will be an artist. Lesson 2, Spring Lake, reinforces what you've already learned and introduces the principles of sketching and painting a featured tree in a landscape setting. You also learn foreground perspective, finger blending, plus new brushstroke techniques and dabbing rag effects. In Lesson 3, you move on to a more detailed subject involving fan brush and palette knife. You're sure to want to continue learning all these fascinating oil painting techniques by following the Conni Gordon 4-step method through the fantastic 10-lesson art course. Your second lesson has been packed and set aside for you. Confirm your order now. And before long, you'll be another step closer to painting your own original landscapes and still life subjects in oils. Just fill in the order form provided in your first lesson pack and send it to us. You'll automatically become a member of the Conni Gordon Art Group. Or phone toll-free on 008 888 575 to find out how, as an art group member, you can make big savings when you purchase the complete art course.
And until we meet again, happy painting.